When you understand the importance of hard work and you are committed to work your way through, you also learn how to operate in excellence. See, this sounds sort of repetitive things we've heard throughout the years, but let me tell you, excellence is not perfection. Excellent people make mistakes. Excellent people have flaws. Oh, let me say that again, because what works my nerves sometimes is to get around church people who seemingly think that they have arrived somewhere. You ain't arrived nowhere. As long as there is breath in our body, there's something to work on. And I double dog dare you to put your mouth on somebody who's trying to work out their salvation, sometimes getting it right, sometimes getting it wrong. But let me tell you something. I can admit before everybody I got some flaws and I've made some mistakes. And I know if I as the pastor how many folk can bear witness? You've got some flaws. You're striving for excellence. You're trying to get it right. But how many folks have ever messed up on the way to try to get it right? But let me tell you, here's what I love about God. God has oftentimes used our flaws to help us in the perfecting process. God has helped use our mistakes to help hook some things up. And how many people can bear witness that God is able to bring a miracle even out of our mistakes if we just let God do what he needs to do to link up the lessons he's trying to teach us? But excellence is doing whatever we do as unto the Lord. Let me tell you, I told him at 7:30, God save us from this spirit of inhospitality and lack of customer service. When you go to some of our fast food restaurants, folk act like they doing you a favor, rolling their head at you and rolling their eyes at you. Let me tell you something, I don't care if you're working at the counter at Wendy's. I don't care if you're the fry cook at McDonald's. I don't care if you're going to empty the trash in the city. I don't care if you are a nurse or a doctor. Whatever you do it like you're doing it for Jesus Christ. Because the truth be told, what I've discovered is God has blessed some of us in the menial areas of life simply because we did it with a spirit of excellence. You don't never know how God can use you when you just operate with an excellent spirit. And I don't know about anybody else. When you come to the house of worship, you ought to come with an excellent praise, because here's what many of us do. Many of us make an assumption that we're going to get here on Wednesday and next Sunday. Let me tell you something, stop making assumptions, because see, we've known some people that we thought would be here on this Sunday morning but have now taken their rest. And so you better give God what God is due while you have breath in your body. Is there anybody who has a spirit of gratitude, who understands that God has been better to you than you really deserve God to be? Is there anybody who's grateful that when the doctors did all they knew how to do, you had a great physician who was able to touch you supernaturally? Is there anybody in here, you came to worship understanding you got diagnosed with cancer, but now your diagnosis is there's no cancer to be found? Is there anybody in here who's ever known what it's like to go without, but God step in and make a way out of no way? Is there anybody who's ever sent your children off away from you and you were nervous? Let me tell you something. I get tired of all of this hyper spirituality. I prayed and worried at the same time. Anybody know what I'm talking about? But you saw God keep his hand on your child and brought them back safely. So when you come into the house of worship, the word of God says, enter into this place with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. Is there anybody who has anything you can bless the name of God for? Don't fool me now. This ain't about who's sitting next to you. That's not who about. It's not about who's sitting in your pew. But if you really honestly can testify, I do recognize God has been good to me, you ought to give him some. See, operating in excellence, you don't cut corners and then get mad at others because you cut the corner. You cut the corner, and then when things didn't go the way you wanted to, you want to blame everybody else. That's not excellent. But I do know that excellence employs what our late founder had coined as grit and grace. And see, this is my own spin on grit and grace. See, grit means you work with all your might, with all your energy, and with all your strength. But you do it with ease, authenticity, and genuineness. See, that means you're not doing it to put on for show. You're not doing it to be seen, because let me tell you something. When you work from a position of ease, authenticity, and genuineness, God has a way of softening the blow of the grit. There are a few people in who know what I'm talking about. And see, that's why you don't have to bulldoze your way into nothing. You just work what God has told you to work, and what you will realize is that your gifts, oh, let me say it one more time, your gifts will make room for you. That's why you don't have but a high school education, but you're in a position that they said you needed a college degree for. It's because your gifts will make room for you. And let me tell you, when God puts his favor on your gifts, can't no demon in hell stand in your way, because God has a supernatural way of breathing on you with his favor, and he will confound everybody who's trying to figure out how did it happen. I believe one of the best portraits of grace and grits that I saw athletically was in the 90s. I don't know about nobody else. I'm still a devotee of Michael Jordan. And y'all remember that finals game? Michael Jordan didn't tell nobody he had the flu. He didn't tell anybody he had the flu. The announcers told the people he had the flu. The commentators told everybody, you know, Michael Jordan has the flu. Michael Jordan ain't said nothing. Michael Jordan just got on out there, shooting 3-pointers, running up and down the court with the flu. Ain't said nothing, but just operating in grit. But let me tell you what grit and grace looks like at the end of the game. After he had done all that he could do to take his team to victory, he goes over to Scottie Pippen and just collapses in his arms, and Scottie Pippen helps to carry him off the court. Because let me tell you something, when your grit has taken you all the way to the finish line, God will give you somebody who can just collapse on, who will gracefully carry you all the way through. I don't know if that's anybody's testimony, but somebody in here, you've done all you know how to do. You prayed, you cried and you prayed. You've gone here and you said, God, I've done all. And God sent you somebody and said, there's your grace gift. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you just got to keep on in your grit, knowing that grace is on the way. Point at somebody and tell them, keep on in your grit, because grace is on the way.